Hello and welcome to episode number 14 of No Whining. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you might be. We've got a couple wines that I'm excited to try with you, and I think they're going to be good, but we'll have to see. The first one up, this is a 2022 Loimer Lois Grüner Veltliner. This is a $25 bottle of wine, and something I want to share with you real quick. If you notice when I popped the top off, if you saw this as well, this little symbol, this sort of decoration on the top of the cap. And that gives us some reassurance because in Austria, where this is from, that designates a certain level of quality. So it's a really handy thing. If you know that little trick, when you're in the wine store, you can just look for bottles with this type of a cap on it and be reasonably assured that what you're getting is a quality product. Now, that doesn't mean that bottles without these tops aren't great, but if you're looking to not roll the dice, this is a pretty good indication. This is coming from the region of Kamptal in Niederösterreich, which means Lower Austria. Now, Lower Austria is entirely perplexing as a name because it's this area in the farthest possible northeast quadrant of Austria. But it's called Lower Austria because it's downstream from the west to east flowing Enns River. Grüner Veltliner is native to Austria, and these Grüner grapes were grown in lowest soils in this area, which is a continental climate. From the terrific tech sheet comes some helpful information about this particular vintage. It says, challenging and very different from the rest of Europe. The Kamptal was like an island of rain in a very dry 2022. After an exceptionally dry winter, the long-anticipated rain finally came in mid-April. In fact, by the time harvest began, we already had as much rain in 6 months as there is normally during an entire year. However, the distribution was not always favorable. There were losses due to Peronospora, especially with the Grüner Veltliner. But, as is often the case in such difficult years, the variety fortunately repaid with very good grape quality thanks to the natural thinning out due to powdery mildew. August was dry, which brought excellent ripeness, though rain in September imposed yet another challenge at the beginning of the harvest. This wine was aged 3 to 4 months in stainless steel and on the lees. Fun fact as well, because this is something the tech sheet put out there, that this is a wine that's perfect with Wiener Schnitzel. So there you have it. All right, I'm going to call this a medium gold color. Let us put it to the schnoz for a test. This is nice on the nose. I'm getting grapefruit coming through, green apple. There's lemon in here, maybe some tangerine. Having some honey notes come through, which is really nice. White pepper also, and maybe a little bit of basil. Let's test it out on the jaws and see how it does. Yeah, citrus and the white pepper flavors are still coming through, but man, the acidity is pretty through the roof on this. It's only like a medium-bodied wine, probably medium minus in terms of alcohol. It's a dry wine. That high acidity is actually really, really refreshing, right? And then it's got the the citrus and the white pepper flavors, and on the nose, which is just really nice. This is, I'm sure I told you earlier, it's good with the Wiener Schnitzel, yeah, but this seems like it would just be very, very versatile to pair with food, right? So like chicken, light fish, if you put it with seafood would probably be delightful. So this is a great, great wine to start with. I like this white very much. Let's go to wine number 2. This is a 2018 The Deal Syrah. This is around $35 to $40. It is coming from producer K Vinters. Syrah, just as a fun little aside here, is known as Shiraz in Australia. So just if you ever hear those, they're somewhat interchangeable. It's the same grape variety. Okay, this wine hails from the Wahluke Slope in Columbia Valley of Washington. This is an area that's known for producing really full-bodied reds like Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon. Again, thanks to the rain shadow, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, that is created by the Cascade Mountains out there. And that makes for a very sunny and warm continental climate. Remember, this ain't Seattle part of Washington. Very, very different out here. The tech sheet also has some interesting information about this vintage and vineyard. It says the 2018 vintage was incredible. This outstanding vintage began mild, followed by a long and dry ripening season in the fall. This enabled us to hang the fruit to reach optimal ripeness without losing acidity or increasing sugars. The site is topsoil over gravel, sand, and broken down basalt with more caliche than other sites in the Wahluke. The vineyard, because of its aspect, is also a later ripening site, allowing for great concentration. And aspect is basically the angle of the vineyard, right? Especially on a hill. Which direction is it facing, right? Like north facing would be very different than in a lot of regions, especially actually in the northern hemisphere. To get those full-bodied red wines, you want south or southeast facing vineyards, and that is what is referred to as the aspect. And then from the production notes, it says native yeast, 100% whole cluster fermentation, 48 days on skins, 30% new French oak puncheons, 21 months barrel aged on the lees. All right. What say we dip in here? I'm going to say that this is a deep purple color with a little bit of a ruby rim. All right, it's time to test it on the schnoz. Here we go. Really nice on the nose. Lots of black cherry, blackberry, black fruit, right? Black plum is in here. Even some dark chocolate, which is really, really nice. All right, let's see what else is in here. Getting these vanilla and leather and these smoky notes. So on the nose, this is really, really nice. Let's try it on the jaws and see how it does there. That's nice on the jaws as well. Right, getting that black fruit still coming through. Wow, big body on this wine, right? Like, but dark chocolate, the leather, that's all coming through. Big body, pretty high on the tannins, medium plus for sure. It's not super acidic. It's like moderate in terms of acidity, but really a lot of alcohol, right? Like I would guess around 14.5%. I guess we can check with the bottle if we can find where it says it. Yeah, 14.5%. And then it's still a dry wine, right? Like there might be a tiny, tiny bit of sweetness in there, but really a dry wine, I would say. But nice, ripe black fruit, along with the vanilla. And that combination is just really delightful. It's got those earth and then spice notes, wonderful complexity in this wine. Great balance, really well balanced, nice length. It's still there, it's lingering, it's developing a little bit, and kind of rounding out with a nice smoky finish. So this is a very satisfying wine as well. Now I already can't decide which one I like the best, so I'm gonna try this one again, and this one. That is really difficult to pick a winner. And I guess I'm just gonna have to go with the fact that stylistically, I really enjoy this type of wine with those really ripe fruit flavors and the prevalent fruit, but then the complexity and the balance that this has is really, really nice. But I would say this wine is just as good, right? So this is very much a personal preference thing. I would definitely, however, prefer to have this at the beginning of a meal. This would work much, much, much better. The Syrah would be great, but you'd have to be a little bit more particular probably with what you put with it. You need things that are a little spicier, a little bit meatier, and it would be great, but I think this would be the winner in terms of being more versatile in the pairing. So anyway, overall, the red, the Syrah gets the nod, but they were both awesome wines. I hope you like them as well, and I will see you in episode 15.